Hey guys, and welcome back to Starcastic Remarks. We are the official Dallas Stars podcast of THP, and thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook, as always, for being our sponsor. Once again, that promo code there is THPN. We really appreciate all of you guys being here this evening. This was a gut punch here tonight, guys. The Dallas Stars do fall to the Detroit Red Wings here tonight by a final score of 4-3. In overtime, they pick up another point. It is their 18th game out of 20 road games where they continue to get points. And man, that was just an absolute gut punch with how that game ended. We're gonna get into all of this stuff here in just a second, but before we get started here this evening, please make sure you click like and subscribe if this is your first time here on YouTube, and also hit that notification bell. And especially, we are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers here in the next couple of months. We'd really appreciate your help in doing so. That is a very big mark in the YouTube world, so we'd really appreciate it. Once again, if you could help us get to that mark, I'd really, really appreciate it. So tonight, guys, Dallas Stars, like I said, do fall by a final score of 4-3 in overtime, but here's the thing. This one just hurt differently because Dallas didn't play poorly. That it's actually quite the opposite. I thought both teams were just fantastic tonight. The one big thing I do want to take away from this is this felt like a playoff caliber game. This is the first time I have felt all season that this was a playoff style game. And if the Stars can play more games like this, getting them ready for the playoffs come April, they will be better for it. Obviously, you don't want the outcome. You obviously don't get the 2 points, and you're kind of staring at it like, how the heck did we not get 2 points out of this? But right now, and I hope I'm speaking for the whole fan base here when I say this, uh, I'm exhausted. That game was exhausting, but there I have so much respect for the Detroit Red Wings and how they played, and there's a little bit of frustration in there as well. But more than anything, that was the most entertaining game that I have watched so far this season of the Dallas Stars. I loved everything about this game. It was incredibly fun to watch, except for the ending. I didn't like the ending all that much, but that's the kind of loss that doesn't really make you angry at the effort. You know, that's one of the things that I talk about all the time, that I don't mind losing, especially if it's to a good team and both teams just played really well. Like this is a perfect example of I am not upset 100% at the effort. Are there things that the Stars could fix in their game here tonight? Yeah. There's some things, and we're going to get into that a little bit, but I'm not really angry at the effort. I'm just angry at the fate and how this game ended. So, I mean, frankly, it could be it kind of is worse. It feels a little worse because it's fate. It feels like you can't really do anything about it. But this didn't feel like just a random December, regular season game, the game before uh Christmas. That both teams, my goodness, they were leaving everything on the ice. It was there was structure, there was physicality, it was fast. There were turnovers, there were good defensive plays. It was unforgiving at points, and just every mistake seemed to matter here tonight. And that's normally usually reserved for April and May, where those mistakes really kind of make a bigger difference. But here tonight, it was just those are the two biggest points I just want to get across, is that this felt like a playoff caliber game, and the fact that I'm not upset at the Stars' effort here tonight. I'm exhausted. I've got respect for the Detroit Red Wings, and just a little bit of frustration with just how the game ended. But let's go ahead and get straight into the game recap here and in some of my notes. And as always, if you become a member of the Who Cares Club for Starcastic Remarks, you get access to every game that I take notes for, which is just about every single game. There are some games where I'm not able to, like, for example, the past game on Sunday, I was not able to do it because I had my own E-League game that I had to get to. But almost every single game I take notes on, and then all of the podcasts that we do are based off of my game notes, and that's how it's kind of structured. So if you want to get an early kick at that so you can see what I'm thinking during the game. You can literally watch me type as I am watching the game as you are watching the game. So Dallas comes in riding a 4-game win streak. That was the fourth time that they've done that. This is the first time where they've been able to get 4 goals or more in every single one of those games. And Detroit absolutely pushes early on. Larkin would get looks off the rush, and DeSmith is tested immediately. DeSmith again was pretty good here tonight. There is going to be one particular thing that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit, but he was fighting through some rebounds, and then Finney, who is just a revelation for these Detroit Red Wings, his 7th-round pick. I didn't know that about him. But he nearly walks into one, and this is like pure pace hockey at this point. This is not warm up hockey. Like the first 2 minutes were like really slow, and then around the 17.5-minute remaining mark, it felt like they just kicked into another gear. And Dallas would respond with pressure of their own after Detroit had some. Robo would have a chance from the half wall. Hence would try a wraparound. Harley had some defensive miscues, but he was a lot better tonight and some of his defensive reads than he was on Sunday. But it just felt like in the first period, Detroit had just a little bit of an extra gear around the midway point, and that led to JVR, James Van Riemsdyk. He would score in tight, and it's not a disaster goal, but it's the kind that reminds you in games like this, mistake punished. And it just felt like that mistakes were going to be the issue from here on out. But there were also some really good plays made during power plays here tonight as well. From there, Detroit would control the vibe of the period. I didn't know another way of putting it because I didn't think the Stars were playing bad. And it just felt like the Red Wings had just a little bit of an extra push in the first period than the Stars did. And the shots would mostly stay even during the first period, and Dallas would settle in late. They get a power play, and Gibson would slam the door during that power play with a couple of good saves. And it already felt like one of those nights, like it was just going to be absolutely nuts. And I love the first period; it was great. Getting into the second period, Dallas wakes up, and this is where the game kind of really showed that playoff mode here for me. And where I saw this is just in the intensity from both teams. The physicality was just kind of really took off here in the second period. But starting off, Borg would get a weird bounce chance again. It was kind of like a broken play that somehow made its way to John Gibson. Foxa nearly converted off of a turnover, and this is where I mentioned this on X, and I can't take credit for it because I didn't tweet it. I should have, so I could take credit for it. But at this point, I said that Benn looks like he's just on a mission here tonight. He's skating with just a bunch of intent and not just energy, and that would come into fruition later on. Detroit would get a goal, but it would seem like they would go up 2-0. Danielson would kick it into the net, so it is not allowed. It was. I don't even think it was reviewed, to be honest with you. And from that moment on, it felt like Dallas would just take control of that second period. This is where I'll say it clearly, in that this is the first game all season that felt genuinely like a playoff game. It genuinely felt the like it because of the pace, because of the physicality, just the way that both of the teams were closing on lanes. There were finishing checks left and right. I mean, the fourth line was excellent tonight for the Stars in that particular point of the game. And there was a little bit of slop, but not a ton. And there was a lot of precise passes that were on both sides. And at some points, it was unforgiving, some of the passes. They were just nuts. However, Dallas would take their bread and butter of the power play, and they would tie it at about the 9-minute mark. Rantanen fakes a shot, and I want you to go and look at the goal. I can't show it here, obviously, because of copyright reasons, but it's literally Rantanen in the slot facing I guess, Gibson's left half wall, and it's just like the four members of the penalty kill unit of the Detroit Red Wings were just watching him. Like they're all facing him. Everyone's expecting him to shoot the puck. He doesn't. He passes it off to Hintz. He goes behind the back, and it was just a great play by Rantanen, of course, who a lot. I know a lot of people thought he was going to be scoring goals when he came to Dallas. He's doing more on the assist side. He's got 36 in terms of assists in the NHL right now. I think he's second only to Connor McDavid, and he's tied with a couple of people at second. So he's been the dish master for the Dallas Stars so far this year. That you could feel that goal was coming to tie it up 1-1. There was so much pressure that Dallas was generating, and it felt like they were going to get rewarded there. And then, literally with about 40 seconds left in the period, Benn would force a turnover, and then in the neutral zone, it was a great play by him. Ritzkovian would just with a little bit of a tip or whatever you want to call it, a poke check back towards Duchesne. Duchesne with a great play on the backhand, lifts the puck over his opponent's stick and gets it over to Jamie Benn, who just buries it. It was a great play all the way around. All three guys on that line really, really committed to that. And Dallas would go into the intermission up 2-1 and looking like the sharper team up at this point. In the third period, this is where the emotional damage really lives, honestly. And it was just all penalties at this point in this period. Detroit would tie it on the power play at 16:58. There was just sustained pressure. There was some rebound chaos, and DeSmith finally can't smother another one. It's not a collapse; it's just a crack for Casey DeSmith. And let me take a pause and a timeout here just for a second to kind of discuss this. The one thing that I did not like about Casey DeSmith's game here tonight, and I think it cost the Stars a little bit, is his rebound control. And I think that is where a lot of people who have been calling for and been saying, "Oh well, Casey DeSmith has been just as good as Jake Ottinger." Goodness, I had a brain fart there. That's something that a lot of people don't really. What's the word I'm thinking of? They don't appreciate about Jake Ottinger very much is his rebound control. And yes, he's big and he's very positionally sound and everything like that. But that's something that Casey DeSmith has a little bit of an issue with just because he's a smaller goalie. And that's just going to happen. He normally makes the initial first save, but there were a couple times tonight where he made the first save and most of the time we were able to get to rebounds. And that wasn't the case here tonight. I think that was again, I keep talking about these turning points. That was a turning point in the game for me is the fact that Casey DeSmith was not able to control his rebounds very well. Now, at the same time, he makes the initial save and there should be someone there to clear the rebound out. But it would be nice if you just get one of those goals that, that he can control the rebound on. I think the first two in particular were definitely rebound goals. I don't blame him for the last two. The last power play goal for Detroit, actually, we're here, so let's just go ahead and talk about it and move on. Like I said, there was penalties, there was chaos both ways, there was missed calls everywhere, all across the ice. I was still surprised they didn't call boarding on was it ASP Sandine Pelika or it might have been Bernard Docker, one of the two, who basically boarded Ritzkovian into the sideboards over there. I still couldn't believe that was called, but the one thing I do want to point out about that particular instance is that I understand that Ritzkovian felt unjustified by that, but he can't take a penalty there. He can't. You're up 3-2, and again, if you want to throw another turning point in there, that was a mistake by the Dallas Stars here tonight. Is Justin Ritzkovian has got to be more disciplined. That was one of the few things that I felt like the Stars didn't. Well, it wasn't the Stars. That Justin Ritzkovian didn't do very well. Is he's got to be more disciplined on that play. I get it. I totally get it. I know that it's not fair. You don't feel justified in that particular play, but because he took a penalty there, that allowed Detroit to tie the game at 2. And if they don't get a power play there, maybe the game stays 2-1 the rest of the way. Maybe the Stars are able to get another one. I don't know. That's in another universe, but that you could point at as another turning point in the game. Dallas would answer again, though. Johnston would redirect a Miro point shot on the power play. They kept trying to go to that low triangle play that they love to do, but Detroit wasn't allowing it. So Miro with a great play, Johnston with the perfect redirect. I wonder where he learned that from, Joe Pavelski. And the momentum at that point felt real. It felt like the Stars were going to take over that. But at 4:03, Detroit would tie it again. Another power play goal, so 3 in the third period here, and it was just another unreal pass by JVR there. I mean, that's a ridiculous pass by him there. Or wait, was it Lucas Raymond? Might have been Lucas Raymond actually, and not JVR. Excuse me. But regardless, the behind the back through the crease, shot to tie it up at 3. There's nothing that anybody could do there. It was a good play overall. I guess you could be a little bit more expectant of that pass, but still, that's it's hockey. The final minutes, the last 2 or 3 minutes were just madness. It was kind of going back both ways, and both Hintz, Robo, and Bork all had a good shift to end it, and they nearly ended it late, but it would go to overtime. And just in overtime, that was the one thing I hated about this game, and why I hate overtime ending it like this. But it was just so quickly. The game was so good, and it was so much fun to watch. And it was basically, that's like the perfect product that the NHL wants, right? You want a game like that every single night of the week, if not every single game on the schedule. That's not realistic, obviously, but seriously, that's just it's a terrible way to end. I hated it, and it was also not, that one wasn't on Casey DeSmith either, in my opinion. That was just Robo trying to make a defensive play, and it kind of screwed Casey DeSmith up with his ability to track the puck. Should he still have made a save on that? Maybe, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that, because I mean, think about it, everyone in the chat here tonight and everyone listening later on. How many games has Casey DeSmith had where you say, he was really bad? 0. I'm still at 0. He wasn't bad tonight. He just wasn't as good as he's been. And it's just that rebound control that really kind of hurt the Stars and hurt his team here tonight. So that's my quick little rundown here. I'm gonna go through and take some of y'all's comments and see what you guys have got here. A lot of talk about Casey DeSmith. I can see. Casey I'm guessing, was not good at all tonight. Can't give up 4. Don't care if he's the backup. Needs to be better. That's another way of putting it, Natalie. But at the same time, look at what they've done, and they're allowed to lose games like this. They still get a point here tonight. And this is the one game I can think of off the top of my head where I'm like, Casey DeSmith probably could have been a little bit better here tonight. He has been so good lately, and maybe he's getting a little bit overplayed from what he's used to. It's been very much back and forth, one game on, one game off for both of these guys right now. So maybe it's time for Ottinger to kind of take the reins a little bit more here at the end of December and going into January. Dallas Stars were killed tonight. Awful OT. Yes. Awful overtime. They didn't control the puck at all. Can't give up 4 goals. Casey needs to be better. Yep. Fair enough. Natalie still. No, Casey was bad tonight. Sorry, Natalie. Natalie is on this. He's Ryan. No, Casey DeSmith was bad. I will agree to disagree a little bit. I don't think he was bad. I just don't think he was as good as he's been. So Zachary Mitchell, 3-8-3-5. I'm not worried about Casey's performance tonight. That power play assist between the legs isn't his fault or anybody's, honestly. That's just a good skilled play. And that's exactly what I was kind of talking about as well. And I don't fault him on the last goal either. The other 2, you kind of want him to, kind of control those rebounds a little bit more. Here's an interesting one, also from Zachary Mitchell. Would have liked to see Moose bury one tonight. He is incredible at setups, but he is a skilled goal scorer too. Sometimes, excuse me, guys, as I yawn through this. Sometimes I wish he would drive and dangle through traffic on the power play like he can do. Yeah, I see what you're saying, and th- this is not one of those games where I felt like the Stars needed that though, because everyone was on tonight. They were all playing very, very well. They had their moments. Some of them did where they had bad plays, or not. It's not like a I know another way to put it, but they just had individual mistakes at specific points during the game where I don't know. It just felt like they made mistakes, but for a majority of the game, I thought everyone played very, very well. Let's see what else we got here. Natalie is saying Otter has gotten a lot better at his rebound control. Yes, he has, and even before he got better, it was already pretty decent. It was already better than what uh, Casey DeSmith does right now. Okay, yeah, I can jump on this with Zachary here. That the missed penalty during the man advantage after the penalty was called. I think Beck took damage and was bleeding. Sucks that one got overlooked because there was already a penalty. Yeah, and that's one of those instances where there's a lot of talk around the league where if a team commits a penalty and then during the 6-on-5 whatever when they're like quote unquote freaking out trying to get the puck to in the 6-on-5 opportunity for their opponents, if they take another penalty then they should take another penalty and it should be 5-on-3. And that should have been the deal for Dallas here tonight. Is it should have been 5-on-3 at that point, because or at the very least a double minor, because you are correct, Zachary, in that Beck did take some damage, and it should have been a double minor. And it's almost like one of those things where you wish you could pick the flag like they do in football if there's multiple fouls or multiple flags on the play or whatever, and you can choose between obviously you want to take the pass interference call over uh the offsides call or whatever. You want that, you want the one that's worth more yards. Kind of wish the Stars could take advantage of that and have something like that. But again, the to each his own, and that's not something that happens a whole lot in the NHL. But I don't know how much that would have changed, but we'll never know. We'll have to just imagine it, I guess. Okay, a couple of standout players here tonight. Uh, Jamie Benn, I thought had an excellent game here tonight. He seemed to have like an extra step that a lot of other guys didn't seem to have. Now, he's even playing. Good. Excuse me. He's even playing less minutes than I think he ever has. Let me actually go look that up before I make myself a liar. But if I remember correctly, he is playing. Yeah, I mean, he is very much playing less time on ice. So on average, right now, he played about 15 to 16 minutes from 2022 to 2025. Those 3 seasons, and this year he's on average about 13 minutes. So it looks like he's still getting about the same amount of shifts, but though he is definitely spending less time on the ice. And he's playing a much lesser role in terms of time on ice for the Dallas Stars, but it was great. It was great with what I saw from him tonight. It was just he was forcing turnovers. He was a physical presence. He got a goal here tonight. He's been way more productive and in the points that he's had this year compared to last year towards the end of the year. Um, I mean, what more can you say about Wyatt Johnston, man? Like the kid, what is that? His like 2 billionth power play goal of the season. I mean, he's on. I was watching the LFR, which is the Leafs fan reaction. Which for those of you that don't know, that's Steve Dangle on YouTube. If you ever get a chance to, you want to watch a super fan freak out and a Toronto fan at that, go watch his stuff. It's pretty funny. But one of the things that he mentioned was that Wyatt Johnston has more power play goals than the entire Leafs roster. He has now 14, and the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think at the point on Friday had like 12, I think. So, and I know it's only a 1 goal difference at that point, but still, it was funny that one player from the Stars had more goals than the entire Leafs roster. Um, and then I mean, Rantanen just I know some people are wanting him to shoot the puck more, but if it's working and you're getting more of these y some of these great passes from him, and you've got other guys who can put the puck away like Robertson and like Johnston, and to a certain extent, there's a couple of others that can do it too, then why not? Why not just let him pass the puck around and let him keep doing what he's doing because it's working? Now, that being said, the another negative that I wanna focus on here a little bit is the Stars 5-on-5, play here tonight. And that's one of the things that a lot of people are kind of pointing at is that, especially our friends over in Colorado, they're pointing out the fact that the Stars are very much relying upon their power play to get themselves into games to take leads or whatever. And to a certain extent, they're wrong and they're pushing it too much. But the Dallas Stars do need to spend a little bit more time scoring 5-on-5 goals. I think they had what? They had 2 here tonight? Yeah, 2 here. 2 here tonight, and no, just 1. Yeah, it was just 1. It was just, Jamie Benn's goal. So, but it's alright. It's that I think that will come with time, and I don't know what it is they need to do differently 5-on-5. And maybe that's they just need to cycle more, and they need to take advantage of, line changers or whatever. I could see that being something that the Stars could do to maybe get some more 5-on-5 goals, but that is something that has got to change. Miro Heiskanen is very quietly almost a point per game player this season. I don't know how many of you have really been paying attention to that. That's partially my fault. I have not been pushing it enough. He gets 27 minutes, 44 seconds time on ice here tonight. And for the season, he's got 7 goals, 27 assists for 34 points and a +8. So he's almost at that point per game mark, unlike what he was last year. I think, yeah, he was a point every other game last year. And he had 25 points in 50 games, and around the same mark, he was a +7. So, uh, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to win the Norris because I think that belongs to Kale McCarr still at this point because Kale McCarr is just doing ridiculous things in Colorado. But he definitely should be in the top 10. He should be in the conversation for getting votes and getting points off of those votes or whatever. But I don't know. I think he deserves a little bit more credit than what he is getting right now because it's just ridiculous what some of these individual guys can do. We are so lucky to be able to watch these guys play right now. It's just about time for us to wrap it up here. So let's go ahead and go biggest winner, biggest loser here tonight. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. I had an initial thought in my head, and I was just like, "No, I'm not gonna do that," but I am gonna do it. My biggest loser here tonight is just gonna have to be Alexander Petrovic, and particularly on that first goal. Yes, it's a rebound. Yes, you want Casey DeSmith to not allow a rebound off of that shot, but Petrovic was like right there and probably could have been a little bit harder on that particular play to make sure that whoever it was, I don't even know who got the goal at that point. Whoever got the goal doesn't get a good shot off of that. Michael Rasmussen. But it's not just for this game too either with Petrovic. Uh, Petrovic has been kind of a little iffy the last couple of games, and maybe that's not we're starting to see the effects of him playing so much in the top 4 when the Stars were really hampered in terms of injuries earlier on, like about a month ago. Maybe that's the case. I don't know. Maybe he's just getting acclimated to playing with a different partner and Ilya Lyubushkin. So that's the other thing is that you got 2 right-handed defensemen on your bottom pairing. That's not exactly the greatest thing in the world. Um, maybe throw Kyle Capobianco in there. I think he deserves a look coming back from the Christmas break, because that would give you lefty righty for the most part, other than the top pairing. But Kyle Capobianco was playing really well when he exited the lineup, and it's just we just got healthier. Nils Lundqvist came back. Uh, you know, Lyubushkin came back the second time, or I guess the third time, or whatever. But either way, it's just maybe you throw Kyle Capobianco in, and just like you just kind of rotated Blackwell out here tonight in favor of Adam Ernie. So maybe we can see that from the defenseman in the next game. My biggest winner. That's a hard one. I guess if you want to give it a biggest winner for both teams, I guess you could say special teams. Half of special teams, I guess. I mean, 4 power play goals in one game is not normal. That's not normal. The Stars, PK definitely kind of got the chink out of the armor here this evening, but it is what it is, and the Stars are going to move on. And I hope moving forward that we have more games like this where the Stars are on the winning side. I think that was the only thing here tonight is both teams played so well, and you just thought that you deserved the win here tonight. And honestly, both teams deserved the win here tonight. I thought Dallas was better, and they deserved better, but the hockey gods thought otherwise. That's going to be it for me here this evening. I am going to see you guys on the flip side after Christmas and after this 3-day break that the NHL takes from the 24th to the 26th. So if you are listening before Christmas, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays, whatever you may celebrate during this holiday season. We appreciate you guys, as always, so much for being a listener to this podcast of this show. We've been doing this for 7 seasons now. It's absolutely crazy how much things have changed with this grouping of people here, with the amount we've been able to grow here. Really are just, taken aback by how much support we have gotten from you guys over the years. So I will be back with you guys after Christmas. Thank you guys so much for following along live. For those of you that have, there's even more of you that are afterwards. Once again, click like and subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you're watching on YouTube, or even if you're listening on the audio side, just go to YouTube and hit that notification bell and hit the subscribe button, especially. I'd appreciate that. Leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast platform of choice. Thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook. Promo code there is THPN. And if you'd like to support us in other ways other than just subscribing, you can become a Who Cares Club member, and you can join there for $5 a month. The link is in the description below. Alongside the Dallas Stars and the Dallas Stars fan base here tonight, my name is Ryan. We will catch you guys on the flip side. Hope you guys have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you guys are listening. Merry Christmas and go Stars.